Are you tired of the mainstream media lying to you every single day? You are not alone. Millions of other Americans are sick of the corporate media fake news of the MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, New York Times, other Times, Washington Post, Political. Every single one of them are in the bag for the Democrats. They are all Team DNC. But now you have another option in independent creators like here on the CASHLOREN show. Well, we will go and we will expose the deep state, these unelected bureaucrats, and the mainstream media, along with the Democrats and their friends in the Rhino Uniparty, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Get the facts on the CASHLOREN show. I am your host, America's Truth Teller, shining a bright red light on the corruption and the hoaxes from the mainstream media and the Democrat Party. You're not going to want to miss a single moment. Join the American First Movement Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. This is the CASHLOREN show.
In 2025, we find ourselves in a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage on all three of the major networks, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service, it's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
There we go. Well, the Democrats have put themselves in another bind as they have gone all in on being on the side of the big government. And what's really ironic is they have gone to grow this giant beast from the DC abyss, which some will call the blob or the deep state. This has led to the creation of DOGE. And by this, I mean that DOGE was actually created by Barack Hussein Obama. And this is what allowed Donald Trump and his administration to change this over and to actually do what the Democrats always said they want to do, but they never actually ever do, is to drain the swamp. Right from the start with Elon Musk and Donald Trump, they came in and they began to identify billions and sometimes trillions of dollars worth of waste. And the amount of money will absolutely shock you, as some of it, we don't even know where it went. For example, on the Biden's Treasury Department, they were just told to just approve everything. It didn't matter what it was. And then on top of being told to approve everything, they were also told that they didn't have the little marks in there, so we don't even know where the money went. I mean, there was no budgetary line items. It's just in the door, out the door, and who knows where. I mean, imagine if a private enterprise did that or somebody did that ripping off their customers. I mean, how quickly would they get thrown in prison? Yet somehow for the federal government, this is listed as okay. And then we start to find out as we dig deeper and deeper where all this tax money is going to all these radical left-wing just dreams for them, right? To push all this activism. See, that is at the heart of the Democrat Party, is when they're bound together through all their hatred for America. They then use that hatred to unite to try to bring America down to its knees. And through that, they do this through their liberalism, which is really involved into activism. Right? They have to get you so angry and so upset that you just stop thinking. You just get mad and angry. And when you're mad and angry, you're essentially drunk. And you're willing to do just about anything that they want you to do. And this is something that they have relied on for a very, very long time. And as the left, as they pretended on one side to be against the government, yet they have continued to grow and grow the government and take more and more of your money and then spread it not just out in the United States, but out through the rest of the world. And part of what's ironic, what led us down this hole, is that when Donald Trump, when he signed his executive order, it was actually USAID that was the most blatantly ignoring Donald Trump's orders. Because you want to understand something about the deep state. What we call the deep state are these unelected officials. They don't think that they answer to the president of the United States. They think that they are the rulers of America, that they are the permanent uniparty. And the politicians, they may come and go, but it's these unelected officials that actually run Washington and DC and throughout the larger parts of the United States of America. In fact, most laws are written by these unelected bureaucrats. I mean, Congress might pass the laws, but they very often have no idea what is actually in these bills. The deep state will write them, they'll write all the rules, write all the regulations, and then they'll send them off to the House, send them off to Congress, and the president will sign them, and then all of a sudden it is now law. And then most time when something affects your life, it's not your congressman, it's not your House member, it's not the people that you voted for to represent you. It's the IRS, or it's LNI, or it's OSHA. It's all these unelected bureaucrats who are actually ruling over you. And it was thankfully through SCOTUS's rule to get rid of this Chevron of difference that actually changed a lot of what is happening into this. And yes, we had a comment over from Robin, and yes, I do agree with you over on X. I just can't put cuss words up on the screen because we are a PG show. But if you want to reword that, I'll put your comment up on the screen. So going back for this deep state and how they operate against us is then Donald Trump and Elon Musk and their DOGE started exposing all the waste and fraud. A massive amount of it was done through what they call USAID. And this has nothing to do with actually aiding anybody. See, this is how the left essentially works to push leftism and to push activism, as we're going to cover a lot of in this first and possibly second segment. Is they'll word things and they tell you the exact opposite of what they are. Like USAID. But USAID doesn't aid anybody. The only thing USAID does is it pushes liberalism and activism, and it does it mostly through these NGOs. See, they take your tax money against your will, and then they put it in this giant USAID bank, and then the unelected officials, these bureaucrats, these deep state swamp creatures, then take all this money and put it onto all these NGOs. Again, called something that they're not. NGOs meaning non-government organizations. The biggest scam of maybe of my lifetime. See, how can the organization or these nonprofits be non-government if they're funded by the government? Especially funded by these left-wing radical activists, and then on top of them is all these other radical leftists. And we're going to cover a lot about PBS and NPR and how all that operates in a second as we lay all the foundation for how this corruption works. And now that Donald Trump and now that Elon Musk's DOGE is exposing all this, thank you a lot to Big Balls. I mean, you got to have some really big balls to go up against this deep state. I mean, between Big Balls and Hairy Balls. And one of my favorite memories from recent history is when all the fake news networks, when they had to pretend that they were upset because of Big Balls was in charge of the government. Oh, that was such a classic moment. I mean, how could the story not write itself any better than through that? But here we are. I still remember him sitting on Jesse Waters and, who's Big Balls? And God bless him. I'm glad he's back, and I'm glad he's helping us fix this government, because that's what we need. We do need this younger generation to stand up and fight. I mean, they are the future of this country, and Charlie Kirk helped activate them and help bring them over to our side of the fence in numbers that the Democrats never thought were possible. For my whole life, at least, the Democrats have been trying to activate the younger generation, yet never were able to do so. And so they would just make excuses like the young don't vote or the young don't care. But when Charlie Kirk came in and he went out and he went up against his leftist machine, he was actually able to help the younger generation save our country. And they came out in huge numbers, and it's not going anywhere. They're going to continue to do so more. Well, now that we have our tax money goes into USAID and then out to all these NGOs and then funds all these left-wing groups, and they always lie about who they are and what their mission is. And this also goes into PBS and NPR, public broadcasting, and the national radio. See, on the surface, what do they sound like? They just sound like generic, for you, right? For the people. That they're just here to, create content for younger generation, or they're just neutral journalists again, right? Not left-wing activists. No. That is not, you're not allowed to say that. See, these are independent journalists. That's the woke terminology. And if you don't agree with them, then you are a racist, you're a bigot, you're a homophobe, transphobe, white nationalist, an extreme MAGA Republican. All their usual BS. However, now that we're continuing to expose this, and they're so full of themselves, they think that they are entitled to your tax money. This is the same thing what we have with like Planned Parenthood when they're getting defunded and they're suing Donald Trump and they're trying to claim the most insane things I've seen in recent years, that they're trying to claim in court that they have a constitutional right to your tax dollars. I mean, can you just believe how insane that is? But that is what they believe. Because these are not independent journalists. These are activists. And they go and they lie right to your face over and over again as they try to pretend that there's something they're not. And of course, the Democrats who understand this completely, okay, they know that these are not journalists, these are activists, and they are pushing left-wing ideology. So because they know that, they try to lie to you, the American people, and then they try to manipulate you, your emotions, to get you to go against your own will so they can continue to push left-wing activism. And this is how they're choosing to do it now. You have a Chuck Schumer calls public broadcasting, and this is what they're trying to go with, is the only way people can get information on a national disaster. This is a matter of life and death. Of course, that is blatantly false. There are many ways to get information. And does anyone go to NPR, PBS for this? And what they try to do all the time, see, this is how they push leftism, and this is how they push activism, is they try to take the most far extreme thing that they can find that they think that you'll agree to. And they say, and they try to put it like that, right? Well, people will die if you don't, fund PBS and NPR. Totally BS. But then they try to manipulate you to go along with it. And then once they manipulate you to go along with that, then they try to say, well, if you agree with this far thing, now you have to give us all the rest, right? You have to give us gay, transgender, Sesame Street in Iraq too. Or else you're a racist bigot, blah, 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 on it goes. See, they're not reasonable at all. They try to move the goalposts to wherever they think is going to be reasonable. And then when that doesn't work, they then move the goalposts again, they try to finally get you to agree with them. And then once they agree with you on the most extreme thing, then they try to shove everything else in with it. And then tell you that you're not allowed to know where your tax dollars go. Same thing with like an abortion. They'll try to use the most extreme situation. Like, what about a teenage girl who gets, incest and all of a sudden is pregnant? 1% of 1%. And they try to get you, well, maybe I'll make an exception for that. Well, if you're going to accept that, then you also have to give us all the others all the way up to birth as well. And then they try to lie about that, but that is exactly what they want, because then you can reverse on them. You can ask the left, well, if you agree with that, well, then let's give you that. Let's say incest, abortion, which I don't agree with. I mean, life is precious. But then just to make the argument to them, we'll say then we're not going to give you anything else, right? So then none of the others. And they will lose their minds. Oh, no, women's rights and all this right to choose and blah, 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 blah. See, so that's how you can prove that they are lying. You then have the other Democrats pushing the exact same things. Like Amy Klobuchar here, she's going, people will not get alerts from national disasters without PBS and NPR. Again, lies, but if that was true, then let's give you that, but let's take away all the left-wing propaganda. But then now they're going to try to lie about all the left-wing propaganda and try to pretend that they are somehow innocent victims, because that's their next goalpost that they push back. And if you call them out on anything, they think, well, I don't know what you're talking about. And then what do they have to do? They have to run to fake news and hope that fake news will protect them. And this is what the CEO is going to do here. So CNN is going to do what the fake news always does, because they are in the bag for the Democrats, just like the rest. So they're going to ask some loaded question where they already know the answer to, so they can go and run their talking points. And then CNN has no intentions of doing any pushback or actually being, a journalist. So this is her response to CNN allows the PBS CEO to lie on their network. And then we're going to break it down afterwards.
for examples, people often struggle to come up with examples of what really they're talking about. So we're always interested, obviously, in making sure that we're serving a multiplicity of viewpoints. You know, Bill Buckley made his home on public broadcasting with a series called Firing Line, which continues today with Margaret Hoover. We are interested in having different perspectives that we bring forward. But when I look at the range of our programmings on public broadcasting, I can't make any sense of an argument that we are somehow biased in any way.
And CNN just lets her lie. Like, we don't have the internet. You know, we don't have an AI to go and research this stuff. Like, we don't have records. I mean, I have an entire stack here from just a couple minutes of researching on what PBS and NPR has allowed on the network. So when she's sitting there, she's lying and she's right to your face. Okay, never doubt that for a single second. She is bold-faced lying to you. She is a left-wing activist propagandist. And now that tax dollars are getting cut, she's pretending to be a victim. There are a million ways to get information out to people, you know, because we have the internet. If we have other radio sources and we have TV, we have lots of ways to do it. So she is bald-faced lying, and she knows it. However, she's going to try to continue to do so, and that's why they can only run the fake news. You notice that? They can never actually go to anywhere that's independent, because we would ask them things like this. So this is, you know, for her. So if she were to try to come on and say something like that to anyone that was actually a journalist, they would bring this up. They would say, hey, PBS, how do you feel about this? Your network wrote this: HIV positive Muppet movies moves to join Nigerian Sesame Street. Does that sound like independent and neutral to you? Or is that left-wing activist? Going on to Times Magazine reporting on PBS. Emil Bigberg and Oscar the Grouch have made some new West African friends who are ready to expand the Sesame Street family. The Nigerian version of Sesame Street, the latest in a long line of region Pacific shows, will host by Kemi and a female Muppet who is HIV positive, has golden hair, and a zest for adventure, and Kobe, an energetic, furry blue Muppet whose mischievous escapades help others learn from his mistakes. Meaning they're pushing all this grooming crap on kids, but they don't want to say that to you. And that's just one slide. Okay, I got a million more that we can go through here. If she would say, I can't point to a single example, well, there's an example right there. And we're going to show you a whole lot more right after this greedy profit break. You're not going to miss just how badly she's lying. And then on NPR, too, to remind her of what a left-wing, insane liberal this person is, too, and why PBS and NPR deserve to lose every single penny of tax dollars. You're not going to miss that or anything else. We'll be right back after this greedy profit break. This is the CASHLOREN Show.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2025, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage on all 3 of the major networks, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Folks, have you wanted to start a podcast but you just don't know where to begin? Podbeam is your all-in-one solution to host your podcast and distribute it all across the internet. With my code on the affiliate link down below, you will gain also 1 month free to try the Podbeam service. This is really your one-stop solution to hosting your podcast. Record it, you put it up to just a single upload. Then that upload will distribute to all of the main platforms all across the internet, including Apple and Spotify and many, many others. It will then also automatically share your podcast across all major social media, making your job easier so you can spend more time recording the podcasts that you love and less time managing them on the back end. Podbeam is your all-in-one solution for your podcast needs. Click on the link below, the CASHLOREN, and get your 1 free month today. The corporate media has lied to the American voters for such a long time that they have lost all their influence as a result. And this has also led to the rise of the independent creators, just like here on the CASHLOREN show, where we take our spare bedroom and convert it into a studio. If you're enjoying this content, it will always be free, but you can continue to help support monetarily if you choose to do so. Click on the locals link. It is only $5 a month. This is just a cup of coffee. Not only will you be supporting an independent creator, but you'll be getting lots of free perks in addition to that as well, including exclusive articles and Sunday shows, and thanking you at the end of videos with your name recognition. Take a moment and consider it and help support independent creators as we fight fake news. Go to locals right now, hit the support button for just a cup of coffee a month. It'll be worth every single penny, and you're getting lots of extra benefits too. Well, NPR and PBS are all pretending that they are victims because they have lost the federal funding, over $1 billion, for their causes. And this is coming from our Republican Congress, who then cut over $9 billion, and $8 billion of it was from USAID. So this is all this money that's going to all these NGOs that are really, when they call non-government organizations, really are government organizations pushing left-wing propaganda. And then PBS and NPR both lost $1 billion from funding, as they should, because they push nothing but left-wing talking points. Here is some more examples. PBS personally finds the far right, but not far left, as 162 times of extreme right terms, but only using 6 times of extreme left. And then you have on air, Premier promotes radical gender ideology 90% of the time. Does it sound like fair and neutral? And then we have the PBS White House correspondent. This is characterizes President Trump's patriotic 2020 Mount Rushmore speech as a love letter to right resentment and promotes the myth of America, because the left hates our country. I mean, it's the one unifying thing of the Democrat Party, is that their vile hatred is they think that the America is evil, and they think that America has had it far too good for far too long, and that the white man needs to be brought down to his knees, because the left is full of vicious, racist, hateful bigots. I mean, everything that they accuse the right of being is everything that the left is. It's ironic how that it works out that way every single time. And then they had another one here, that the real boy. So there's a trans, meaning a biological female, I think in this case, has diverted to a boy. So just transgender boy, biological female, pretending that they're a biological male. And they ran that because they're not left-wing propagandists. Because we can't find a single example of where the Democrats and the left-wing activists have taken over PBS. Because, I don't know. I mean, how am I going to struggle to find a single example of this? PBS devoted an entire panel to what it means to be woke and to have white privilege. More left-wing radical talking points. I mean, these things go on and on and on and on. I mean, I still have pages and pages here of examples of the crap that they're pulling. And that's just PBS. We're not even getting into NPR yet. And to go onto the NPR side real quick, here is the person to remind you who is actually running NPR.
Our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus in getting important things done.
Our reverence for the truth is stopping us from getting important things. See that? I can't think of a better way to sum up the Democrat Party. The reverence for the truth is getting in the way. Exactly. See, that's the way they think. When they lie to you about misinformation, and when they lie to you about disinformation, and when they lie to you about hate speech, all the things the left lie about, see, she just answered right there. It's not any of those things. The problem for the left is the truth that gets in the way of their lies. Listen to that again.
For the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done.
Yeah, the truth gets in the way of the less propaganda. I mean, if she's going to tell you that, then, I mean, why not believe her? Why not believe every word that she's telling you there? Because that's who the Democrats are. These woke, miserable women and these weak men. And at the center, they hate our entire country and they need to bring it down to our knees. Just like they happen to point out Donald Trump's Rushmore speech, which is, filled full of patriotism and filled full of this love for the American country. Too many people don't realize how good we've had it because we've had it good for such a long time. Is they don't realize what it's like out in the rest of the world or what was like just a few hundred years ago. The good times have made people soft. And the freedoms that we enjoy in this country is like nowhere else in the world. I mean, if America actually falls to the left's communism, there is nowhere else to go. And it's interesting that all these activists, all these progressives, all these liberals, all these people that are fleeing the third world and want to come here, and then what do they want to do? They want to change our country to their third world. Well, if you fled that third world, why are you coming here and trying to bring it here? You notice how none of these activists, they never go from our country and then go back to the third world hellholes that they think is so great. Like somehow socialism has never worked anywhere, but somehow it worked this time. Trust me, bro. Or communism has killed more people than all the world wars combined. But no, this time, see, we just haven't communist enough. We just haven't socialismed enough. We need to bring in like some communists like Zoran Madani, and he will take New York and he will run it into the ground if they somehow elect this guy who has no experience whatsoever, who claims to be for the workers but is backed by billionaires, the people he pretends to hate. It will be very dark. Because the thing about communism is it sounds so sweet, right? They have to promise all the free stuff because you would never buy it. So whether they have to promise housing freezing, or they have to promise government ran stores, or they have to promise communities owned by the people. See, this is all things that Zoran Madani is promising to New York. These are all standard communist utopian dreams that never work anywhere. All they lead to is the same result every single time. Communism always leads to poverty, slavery, and death. There is no other outcome. Whereas we have here in America, when we have liberty, when we have the right to pursue happiness, when we believe in an individual liberty and we believe in American exceptionalism, see, that's where freedom truly lies. When you are free to make the choices in your own life, not to have some communist government telling you how you can live your life, or how much food you can eat, or how much money you're allowed to have, or how big your home is allowed to be. I'm not exaggerating any of that. That's what's coming if these communists take over our country. They were close. They were one election away from finishing their communist utopia, from finishing their communist revolution. If Kamala Harris had been gotten in, they would have left our border open for another 4 years. They would have nationalized all those third world, and we would never have another free election in our country again. Do not doubt me for a single second. That is exactly what would have happened. Donald Trump stopped the Democrats' communist revolution. God bless him. And now we have a chance to take our country back, because now we have a chance to save it from people like this who think that they're entitled to your tax dollars, like Catherine Marr of the NPR. And she took a picture of herself, wearing a mask, stunning and brave, but I guess law enforcement's not allowed to. And then on President Biden in hat, right, neutral journalist ahead of NPR. And then some of her amazing posts that she did. Today, like every single day, is yet another great day to follow more Black women, as well all people of color on your website. I mean, sure, looting is counterproductive, but it's hard to be mad at protesters not prioritizing the private property of systems of oppression founded on treating people's ancestors as private property. And the list just goes on and on and on. It's something that's, it's horrible that we have gotten to this point. And that now that these people, they think that they're entitled to your tax dollars to continue to push liberalism, because liberalism really is a virus. It's a mind virus. We call it, recently called like the woke mind virus. But it is what it is, because it creates a false sense of moral superiority. See, they just decide in their own brains that they are morally right without any context whatsoever. They decide what is moral and what is not moral, as opposed to what should actually be moral and not moral is our Lord Savior Jesus Christ. God determines truth. God determines what is right and what is wrong, not these corrupt liberals. And that's why they try to push so hard against capitalism. That's why they try to push so hard against your free rights. And that's why they try to push so hard against our country and our Lord Savior Jesus Christ. This is what they're against, because they think the left believes wholeheartedly that government should be God, because they are communists. Big brother. They're going to try to reword it like the woke always does, and they're trying to make it sound something like it's not. They're going to call themselves democratic socialists, or they're going to call themselves progressives. But it's all the exact same thing. It's all just repackaged Marxism to take you down the road of communism. Every single time. This is the fight of our generation. This is the fight to save our country. Because if we don't fight now, if we don't stop it now, we never escape. We lose all our rights. We see it already happening every day with the left. As they try to throw people in prison that they don't agree with for mind crimes, and then other people on their side of the fence that they then don't get arrested or don't get prosecuted, or they just don't release it from jail. Right? How many times do you see these AGs and these judges, they just either refuse to prosecute crimes, or they give them sweetheart deals, or they just release them back into society over and over and over again, as they think through their moral liberalism, like somehow they have the moral right to decide what is right and what is wrong, which laws should be followed, and then which laws should not, based on their own fake morality. I mean, is anything that I said there wrong? Not a single word. We are fighting back and we are winning. We are winning because when we go out and we expose the truth, then they can't stand up for themselves. They really can't defend their position, so they then have to continue to try to lie. And as we go and we expose them more, their lies get more and more insane. One of their main targets is ICE. And I just looked at the clock. I'm going to take a break a little bit early on this one, as before we get into the story, because I don't want to start the story and then take a break in the middle of it. So we're going to go break a little bit early. Then we come back. ICE officers were interviewed by Fox News, and these officers, they explained many of the things that the left are lying about ICE, as they're trying to target them and dox them, because the ICE are enforcing the laws that the Democrats do not want. And so they lie about masks, and the terrorizing communities. What they really mean is arresting illegal aliens, and the ones the Democrats are trying to protect, and then they're mad because it's not easy to ICE and dox these officers and threaten them. We're going to cover their story and a whole lot more right after this gritty profit break. This is the CASHLOREN Show.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2025, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage on all 3 of the major networks, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Folks, TRexPets.com is your home for your animals' needs. From their food to their toys to any other accessories, you can find it all over at TRexPets.com. Stop giving your money to these woke box stores who don't care about your values and push all this woke nonsense garbage. Enough is enough. Over at TRexPets.com, they are America First, conservative, loving family, guaranteed to be woke free. That is over at TRexPets.com. Go there today, sign up, and with your $50 purchase, you'll receive a free gift with your order. That is over at TRexPets.com. Put your money where your values are, guaranteed to be woke free, unlike these giant big box stores that put America last. Go to TRexPetStores.com right now and buy your dog food, your cat food, and other supplies. Head over right now over at TRexPets.com. That is T-Rex.com. The corporate media has lied to the American voters for such a long time that they have lost all their influence as a result. And this has also led to the rise of the independent creators, just like here on the CASHLOREN Show, where we take our spare bedroom and convert it into a studio. If you're enjoying this content, it will always be free, but you can continue to help support monetarily if you choose to do so. Click on the locals link. It is only $5 a month. This is just a cup of coffee. Not only will you be supporting an independent creator, but you'll be getting lots of free perks in addition to that as well, including exclusive articles and Sunday shows, and thanking you at the end of videos with your name recognition. Take a moment and consider it and help support independent creators as we fight fake news. Go to locals right now, hit the support button for just a cup of coffee a month. It'll be worth every single penny, and you're getting lots of extra benefits too. One of the Democrats' things that they're trying to do now is they're trying to dox all these ICE agents, as the Democrats have decided what laws they get to follow and what laws they don't. And this is driving them crazy because they opened their border for 4 years, letting tens of millions of people come into our country. We have no idea who they are. We have no idea where they came from. We have no idea what their intentions are. What we do know is they go into our colleges and we see them running like Palestine flags and Mexican flags and say, if you hate this country, then why are you here? Go back to your third world hellhole where you belong. Most Americans want deportations, but this is the issue that put Donald Trump back in the office. And now Donald Trump is doing it, and now he's given ICE and Border Patrol and all these departments over $150 billion to do what you voted for. Now, as this is happening, actually it's becoming more popular, not less popular. And the Democrats are finding themselves the wrong side of another 80-20 issue. Because for the Democrats, they see these illegal aliens as permanent voters, and cheap labor. Now, either now or later, because what the Democrats talk about all the time is their pathways to citizenship. And this isn't just the Democrats, this is also the Rinos who are trying to help them in Congress. And the Rinos mean Republicans in name only, but really they are Democrats through and through. Well, they'll go in front of the TV and they'll say all the right things, or they'll go online, they'll post all the right stuff that you want to hear, but then when they go into Congress, they vote against your will over and over again. And this is partially, as we talk about, as amnesty, is now there's called a soft amnesty bill being pushed by these Republicans in the House. Now, the Democrats, of course, would be more than happy to sign on to. And on these, what they're trying to push here is that they would get a 7-year legal status for work authorization. But there's nothing more permanent than a temporary government order. As though just do like 7 years, right? And then when the 7 years come out, oh, let's extend it for another 7. And then we'll just extend it for another 7. Right? And then, by now they're just citizens. I mean, they've been here for 2 decades. So this is a blatant lie again, but it's being ran by the Democrats and the Republicans in the House. And then also they claim to try to sweeten the pot is that they'll be made to pay restitution and check regularly with DHS and other legal statuses to be renewed in their good conduct. If your first act is to enter our country illegally, there is no good conduct. You are a criminal. We will find you and we will deport you. That is the due process for entering our country illegally. And this is driving the Democrats mad. And so as we find them, as we go to where the criminals are in these sanctuary cities, the Democrats are getting more and more desperate to try to get you to hate law enforcement. And the thing that they're trying to do now is they're trying to threaten law enforcement with violence. Of course, they do it by dog whistling. Right? Is they say things like Maxine Waters will say, I'm not calling for a civil war, but if you don't give us what I want, you're going to cause a civil war. Or you have other people like on MSNBC saying things like, these ICE agents are wearing masks. And so people don't know who they are. So if they don't take off their masks, then they have a constitutional right to defend themselves against these agents. Even though we can show video after video of these ICE agents wearing police uniforms and body armor, right? They know who they are. And these are the same Democrats who made police officers wear masks in a car by themselves. And when they pulled you over, these same police officers would walk up to your car with a mask. But that was perfectly fine when the Democrats wanted to force everyone to wear masks. But now this new fake virtue, this new hoax of the Democrats really has nothing to do with masks at all. What it has to do with is trying to identify these agents so they can dox them, put all their information online, and terrorize them and their family to try to force them not to enforce our laws. And we're going to start going through this on the Fox News as they interviewed some of these law enforcement agencies, and here's what they think on masks.
Senator Padilla is also among some other lawmakers who believe that you should never be masked. We do see officers who are sometimes, agents who are sometimes wearing masks. Why are they wearing masks? And should there be, is there a good reason?
Okay, so I'm going to stop right there before he answers, because you can look at this clip. For most of you that are on the video so they can see it. For those that can't, these officers that are wearing masks, there is very obvious that they are police officers. I mean, it says right on their body armor, and it says in front and back. I mean, you can identify in seconds that these are law enforcement officers. So the Democrats, of course, are lying because they want to dox.
For that, what would you say to him?
Because like you just mentioned, they're putting their information out there. I mean, you stated yourself that they're putting it out there to put our identity out there. And this is different from what's happened in the past. Like I said, police officers have always had cameras in their face in recent times. And this is being done intentionally, to put our information out there. It's not just our face. They're trying to get our information out there.
He is right. And not just their face, and not just their information, their family's information too. the Democrats know exactly what they're doing. They're threatening these ICE officers. When they call them like Nazis, when they call them fascists, when they call them the Gestapo, okay, they know what they are doing. They are trying to dehumanize these law enforcement officers to get them to stop enforcing our laws, and then also to justify violent crime against these law enforcement officers. Okay, assaults against ICE has gone up by 800%, and the Democrats' rhetoric has caused this. They know what they are doing. This is how it always works. If they call someone like Hitler, it's because they want these radical leftists to call them, to go after them. Because if you had a chance to stop Hitler, if you had a chance to stop World War II, how far would you be willing to go? See, the Democrats understand this. And unfortunately, people are falling for it and putting our law enforcement at risk. So the Democrats, when they lie about caring about law enforcement, and they always want to go back to January 6th, remember this. And now their next hoax, of course, is going on to these facilities as they try to go into these facilities to investigate them, but that's not really what they're doing at all. What they're trying to do is they're trying, now that they can't dehumanize the police officers, of course, the next step is try to dehumanize the places, the detention centers, which are either at or above all regulations for detention centers. And the Democrats know this, but they don't care one bit. I mean, this is so insane that they're walking in there and they're trying to put thermometers up to light bulbs to get them to go to a real high temp and then say how it's all so hot and sweltering in there and that it's just inhumane. Or can you believe this? I mean, this will absolutely shock you. Did you know that they have to brush their teeth in the same area where they have a toilet? I mean, can you believe the inhumanity? Can you believe the indecency? Except, wait, that is every single bathroom in the United States of America. They all have the toilet in the same room where they have the sink. It's unbelievable, but they don't care. They want to try to bully you into not locking up illegal criminals and deporting them, because you're deporting their voters and you're deporting their cheap labor. I mean, you deport the illegal aliens, then who's going to pick the Democrats' crops?
About the criticism of ICE facilities, when you hear people say that, people are being held in cages, that these are barbaric detention centers. You work in that part of the system. What do you say?
Well, I can attest to that firsthand. We don't have cages in the detention center. We have bunks, we have beds, warm showers, and there's tablets in each individual dorm. I don't refer to them as jails. They're dorms, they're dormitories. The detainees there, I visit them almost.
Before he gets into the next part, yes, it's a prison. Okay, that's what happens when you break our laws. You break our laws and you go to jail. Anybody, right? Maybe not the Democrat elite because they get the two-tier justice system, but most people are enforced by our laws. This is no different. Coming into our country is illegal. And the thing that they keep trying to not talk about is, even if that part of being illegal is, most of the people that they are arresting are violent criminals doing the most heinous things in our country. All kinds of assaults, murders, doing awful things to women and children. This is what the Democrats do not want to tell you. They instead want to talk about some poor family who is choosing to deport. And if you are illegal in this country, the very best thing that you can do right now is deport yourself and then come back the legal way.
Twice a week, perhaps. And the accommodations that are given to them are very interesting, because they get tablets. They get tablets that allows them to connect with their families, with their relatives. Phone calls. There's plenty of phones there available for them to use. Like my colleague said, they get 3 meals a day. We even go as far as to try to accommodate certain diets that the detainees in our custody request to debunk that statement about cages. I can tell you right now, we have no cages at our detention centers, nor have I ever seen a cage in one of our detention centers.
Well, I'm sure Rachel Maddow will be crying about one pretty soon. You know, she'll be, I need a minute. Let me refer to my acting lessons. I'll just put my eye on my eye, and then I'll poke my eye to make a tear come because I'm really hurt. Now look how red runs. These kids, they're in cages. This is just so inhumane. I mean, just please, just give me a moment. It's so terrible. It's just the most awful thing I've ever seen. Right? Watch Rachel Maddow, watch Jen Psaki, watch CNN as they did it again. I mean, speaking of CNN, as they ran another puff piece where they're talking about this American family that decided to self-deport because they didn't want to be kids in cages. When you find out that the husband is an illegal alien that never should have been here. So what do? He can choose to deport now, or he can get arrested. And his family, who are American citizens, they got a choice. They can stay here because they are citizens, or they can go and be with their family in the country, which in this case is Mexico. Enforcing our laws is not inhumane. You know what's inhumane is that Democrats fake virtue signaling like things like kids in cages. You know, where is there crying for people like Lake and Riley? Where are they crying for all the people who are victims of these violent gangs who are doing the most brutal things to American citizens? I don't see CNN or MSNBC crying for any of them. In fact, they ignore it because they know when facts don't fit the narrative, they just move along.
Let me ask you this, Paul. President Obama, when you look at the numbers, deported more people from the country than President Trump.
He has. It's just... Oh, that little fact just drives the left nuts when you bring that up. The rage, you get back, yeah, well, you're a racist. Well, that makes Barack Obama a racist, right? If he deported more people than Trump, he's probably the biggest racist of our generation, according to the left's woke mind virus logic. I don't remember Barack Obama having to go in front of a single judge. I don't remember a single injunction. I don't remember any due process. It's ironic that this is happening in as much damage as Barack Hussein Obama has done to our country. It's really his policies that are helping ICE do the work now. And it's really his policies and his laws that help bring DOGE about. It was how we didn't need the 60 votes. Trump was just able to repurpose it through executive order. And now ICE being targeting the third leg of this hoax. Right? So the first leg is the ICE agents masking themselves. The next is lying about the detention centers. And then the third is they're pretending that ICE is like driving around, different roads with blocks, I guess. And they're looking for anybody that doesn't look like them. And then if they see somebody that's, brown or black, they're just pulling them over because of the color of their skin, and they're arresting them to see if they're an American citizen, which is, of course, nonsense. These are targeted raids, as ICE is going to explain.
Suggestion is that the operations are just roving, driving around, rounding people up. What do you say to that, Andres?
I would say that's not accurate. We have our targets. We know who we're going to pick up, and we have our plan beforehand. We don't just go out there and look for anybody. We know who we're looking for.
What do you think about Senator Padilla is also among some other lawmakers who believe.
Padilla again. But this is right. They go and they target places because they're going after these violent criminals. They're going into immigration courts, right? They're going into jails. And they're going to places where they know violent criminals and gangs are. But those are facts. They're getaway in the Democrats' narrative. So then they have to lie to you, the American people, because if you knew the truth, you would never come to the conclusion they want you to come to. And to help help wrap a bow around all this, here is Eric Swalwell as he goes and he tries to dog whistle for violence against federal agents. It's the Democrats aren't pretending to be pro-law enforcement anymore. Not when law enforcement arrests the criminals that the Democrats don't want arrested. But of course, they're too big cowards to do the act themselves because they know that they would be arrested and they would go to prison. So instead, what do? Is they say, I'm not calling for violence, but if you enforce our laws, there will be violence, trying to get these left-wing radicals to get violent on ICE agents. They know exactly what they're doing, and here's Eric Swalwell dog whistling for violence against federal officers.
And these ICE agents running around our communities like masked bank robbers?
Masked bank robbers. You see the newest woke terminology that they're trying to see what will stick? And now a police officer, when they wore a mask for the last 4 years, right? They all wore them during COVID. That wasn't a problem for the left back then. But now it's a problem because they want to dox them. And so they have to make up lies to get you to go along with it. And this newest lies is, oh yeah, they're like bank robbers.
Terrorizing women?
Terrorizing women. I mean, the Democrats don't even know what a woman is. I mean, what is a woman, Eric Swalwell? Can you at least explain that? I mean, how do you know they're a woman? Did you ask them if they identify as a woman? I mean, how dare you not respect their pronouns, Eric Swalwell? How dare you assume that they're women if they didn't tell you they were a woman first? What a racist, bigoted, homophobic thing to say, Eric Swalwell. That's very just terrible of you. Awful.
They're going to get themselves hurt, and I hope that doesn't happen.
They're going to get themselves hurt. There's the threat. And on the backside, well, I hope that doesn't happen. But if you don't unmask yourself so we can dox you, this is us calling these woke mobs to attack you. He knows what he is doing.
And we're already seeing women are being targeted by people who are impersonating ICE agents.
Do you have examples, Swalwell? Because there probably is out there somewhere. I mean, there are, even without ICE agents, there are people who pretend to be police officers. That is not an unheard of thing. But that the Democrats, again, to justify, right, everything, they try to take the most extreme thing that they don't even care about, like, oh, women, when the Democrats every other day of the week don't even know what a woman is. But then they go to what's the most extreme? Oh, a woman is being targeted by fake police officers. And so you have to not wear a mask so we can dox you just to protect this 1% that has probably never, ever happened. But even if it has, it's such a small part. And then he leaves out the other half of this, is that somebody can impersonate a police officer with or without a mask. These lying Democrats, you'll never hate them enough.
I hope every state that is able to, and every community that is able to, unmasks ICE with their policies. If you're standing on the law, you can show your face.
Yeah, please let us dox you. Please let us terrorize your families. It is such a pathetic push by the Democrats. Everybody knows they're lying, and they're still on the wrong side of every single 80-20 issue, and they just have no reason to go anywhere else. I mean, they're vastly committed to dying on this hill. They have decided that that is the hill they're going to die on, so I guess it is. Next, we got a couple minutes left. So we have the DOJ has finally fired James Comey's daughters. I lost it in my works. I'm trying to find where it went real quick, but this should have happened a long time ago. And it finally happened now, conveniently, as this is the same woman. So this is James Comey's daughter. This is the former FBI agent that was then the federal chief bureau officer. He ran the FBI for under Barack Hussein Obama, who helped push Russia, and all these other collusion hoaxes. Okay, this is the same guy that just a few months ago magically wandered up on a beach with 86-47 shells, took a picture, posted it on Instagram, and then pretended he didn't know what it meant right before his book went on sale. Okay, this is that guy's daughter. the same daughter that worked for the DOJ that somehow was not fired, that ran both the Epstein trials and both the Diddy trial. And we saw what a disaster both of them were. It should have happened earlier, but at least it's happened now. Just like Susan Rice and the others, many others, and these woke people at the State Department or the Department of Education, at least we're moving in the right path. And with that, we are out of time. We'll be back again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. This is the CASHLOREN Show. The rest of these stories will have to go. Well, independent thinkers, we have come to the top of another hour. The rest of the stories will have to go back in the stack. If you enjoyed this content, take a moment, hit the subscribe, turn on notifications, most importantly, share a conservative message with your friends and family. We will be back Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern here on the CASHLOREN Show. We will go and we will expose and fight the fake news networks who have been getting away with lying to you for decades. Our content will always be free, but if you'd like to support more, you can do so monetarily over at locals at the CASHLOREN Show. And there's great rewards and benefits for doing so. For only about a cup of coffee a month, you will receive exclusive articles and you'll have your name at the end of the video, just like these other fine patriots have. If that sounds interesting to you, go over to locals right now for just a cup of coffee a month and help independent creators stay free, keep the lights on, and continue to expose the fake news networks. We'll see you again on the next episode. This is the CASHLOREN Show.